Where on Thursday a judge ruled that the family of the late Eric Richins will benefit from his business's life insurance policy. And get this, his wife Corey, who is charged with his murder, will not benefit from that. Reports say that Eric had a $2 million buy-sell agreement and set up a trust as the beneficiary. But prosecutors say that unbeknownst to Corey, there she is in that picture, Eric's will states that his sister Amy would take over the trust if he died. They further claim that just 2 months before Eric died of a fentanyl overdose, Corey attempted to make herself the beneficiary of that trust. Soon after she was removed from the policy and just 2 weeks after the alleged murder, she sued Eric's trust for the money and assets. The defendant is currently being held without bond as she awaits the start of her trial. She's facing charges of aggravated murder, a first-degree felony, and 3 counts of possession with intent to distribute. Still with us to talk about this, we have Marie Pereira and Kirk Nurmi. And, you know, the first thing I think of is, hey, there's that motive. She's even sued for the money only to learn that it won't go to her from that particular trust. Marie, your thoughts?
She's on a losing streak. She wanted to be out to help with her defense, and they said no. And now this, which is making it even harder for her to pay her attorneys. And I'm sure their prices are quite high because they have a lot to deal with in this case.
A lot to deal with in this case. I just have to circle back, Kirk, to the fact that she actually wrote a book, a children's book, based on the grief of losing their father, and now she's accused of his murder. So I would also think, well, maybe she has her own book, proceeds, etc. But what are your thoughts? I mean, to me, it points to a motive that this state is going to use in this trial, Kirk.
It certainly does. I mean, even the book itself, actually, the insurance money, the book, trying to put herself out there as a grieving widow, right? She's and one who's benefited from this life insurance. She's trying to totally reinvent herself at the expense, and her husband's death is the springboard for that, if you will. So I think that ties into a complete pattern for her. She's going to be rich, she's going to be the victim, and she's going to be celebrated. And that, I think, is what this woman wants. And as Marie pointed out, the party isn't what she's going to think it's going to be, because I think based on this losing streak she's on, any party she has is going to be in the cell block.
So is there any opportunity for a blow really like this, to think, I'm getting all this money, I can use it for attorney's fees or whatever she wants to use it for, but she doesn't get it because it goes to the sister instead? Marie, is that something that might cause her to rethink going to trial? Might we see a plea? Does that influence defendants any in your experience?
I don't think that the prosecutors are going to give someone who allegedly murders the father of their children and writes a book about it, and like Kirk says, uses it as a springboard for fame, going on talk shows, etc. There's not going to be a plea presented to her. The plea has to come from the prosecutor to approach defense and say, hey, let's try to, work out a plea. And in this case, I think it's so egregious, they're not going to offer her any type of plea.
All right, what do you think, Kirk, about a potential plea in this case?
Well, listen, if she can't afford to pay her attorneys, she will be entitled to attorneys who work for the public defender's office. I don't see her wanting to plea in this case. I still think she probably wants to cast herself as a victim, some hope that she can spring back from this. Hope is a powerful tool to someone who's charged with a crime. And so, I could very well see a change in her legal team, but not in a change in her pleas for innocence. I think she wants this trial to go forward. I think for female defendants in particular, those accused of murder, image is so important, and she wants to protect her image, and she thinks she's going to be successful doing that at this trial.
Boy, Kirk, you almost say that like you have some experience with representing high-profile females, because I've never heard that perspective, and it's a really important perspective to keep in mind. If she's focused on image, that makes sense as to why she may be taking the steps she's taking. Always love having both of you on. Thank you to Marie Pereira and Kirk Nurmi for joining me this hour. Michael Ayala is joining me next. We're going to talk about the new evidence in the Gilgo Beach serial killings, plus the shocking and gruesome discoveries made in 3 suitcases found floating in the water. You will not believe the age of the defendant accused of this crime. Stay tuned. Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice. Welcome. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ashley Wilcott.
And I'm Michael Ayala, and we're both here giving you your front row seat to justice. We begin in New York, and a new bombshell and evidence as far as the investigation into the Gilgo Beach serial killings. Today, the Suffolk County District Attorney confirmed to Court TV that a belt was used to bound one of the victim's arms and legs.